You do OnlyFans as well. Do your parents know? Supportive, not supportive?
So my mom knows. I actually just told her about the OnlyFans. She's been known that I'm a dancer since I started. My stepdad knows I'm a dancer, but he doesn't know about the OnlyFans just because he has a pretty antiquated view on, the internet's there forever and safety and stuff like that. So he doesn't really.
When you say antiquated view, what do you mean?
I think it's just a boomer / Gen X perspective that.
What perspective is that? What is the antiquated perspective?
Yeah, that you shouldn't post that stuff on the internet.
Just like conservative?
I guess that would be conservative.
And is that antiquated or is that?
I mean, I would.
It's definitely more common amongst older populations.
Wait, so your parents, do they know that you're? They said they know that you dance,
Her mom does. Yeah, so they both know that I dance. My mom knows that I do OnlyFans. Okay. My biological dad does not know either. As far as I'm aware.
And is she supportive?
Yes, she's all about me getting my money.
She's all about you making your money. What about your dad?
Biological dad or stepdad?
Both.
Well, my stepdad also doesn't really care as long as I'm safe. That's like the main thing for him, and it's the same thing for my mom. But he's also wants me to be self-sufficient and stuff like that. So that's like really their main concern is my self-sufficiency.
Couldn't you be self-sufficient though without?
It's a lot more difficult. So I did, as a young person, the only options that I have, for a job is entry-level stuff and then also like fast food work and stuff like that. I could work my way, as a manager in a fast food restaurant, but that's really the highest up position that I could get.
And then Nala, I think you maybe talked a bit.
So my dad, my entire family knows. My mom and I don't speak anymore. She's very religious, conservative. We've never had a good relationship throughout my entire life. It didn't even matter when I was a pastor's kid.
Yeah.
My dad found out and everything, very just supportive of me. He is still a Christian. He loves me. Me and my dad have had a really good relationship throughout the years. I financially support my family because they're retired now and have like kids who have kids, and like my nieces and nephew need like things sometimes. So I love to give money to my family because I have it and they're still part of my family. Like I care about them. So even if I didn't speak to them, I wouldn't care. Like, I made the decisions I made, and I'm being very smart about it. And obviously, I know that OnlyFans is not the end result. I went to college to be a dental hygienist, and I worked in an orthopedic office scheduling surgeries and stuff. I had big girl jobs with big girl benefits that didn't pay the bills. So I'm like, listen, I have huge pursuits, like snowboarding. Snowboarding's fucking expensive. I want to be tutored in Japanese. That's expensive. Like, I wanted things that I couldn't achieve with a normal job and like something that men think that I should be doing, So me pursuing this OnlyFans career gave me so much freedom to expand as a human being. And I was like, wow, like this is what I want to do. And again, this won't last forever.
Just out of curiosity, you couldn't have gone snowboarding and learned Japanese without doing OnlyFans?
What I was telling you is that it costs money that I didn't have. Doing things like being a surgery scheduler, working like I said, I went to college. Like I got my little degree and everything, and that got me nowhere.
Especially with this economy right now.
It's so bad. I could not live in California doing what I did. Absolutely not. It's so bad. And then I was like, I have to get a second job as a female who doesn't have a boyfriend I wasn't being supported by anyone. So I was like, okay, you know what? I think I'm really good at having a presence online. And I pursued so much. I don't just do OnlyFans. And OnlyFans is really like my content for OnlyFans has slowed down so that I could pursue bigger things that led me down different financial routes. So again, this was a starter, not an ender.
Can I ask one question about to all the girls that do OnlyFans? Because Lord knows y'all make a lot of money, and I'm gonna be honest. Sometimes I make jokes at work, and I'm like, I work obscene amount of hours to not make anywhere near as much money. But there is a part of me that's also wondering, like you like you said, you can't do this forever.
No,
and when you go back into, let's say, civilian life, you're gonna look at everything and be like, I'm not gonna accept any of this because you're gonna make a eighth of what you made.
So it's not about that. What I'm trying to do is set myself.
I almost want to answer on.
You're gonna make money. No. But
because
the point of making
if you're smart,
the point of making that much money.
I was about to say, like,
I'm not going back to a normal job.
If you're smart,
but that's the whole point.
If you're smart,
so you're
about it.
investing.
Not
you're
every
buying,
girl is.
You're investing.
No, they're
you're
not.
buying
I
really
see
No. Hold on. I think, I mean, perhaps you don't have any history on Nala. Nala, let me ask you a question. If you wanted to retire today, could you?
1,000,000%. I could have retired a year ago.
So it's, I mean, you're not familiar with Nala, but I think asking her that specific. Granted, there are women who do OnlyFans who they will face that challenge, but I think Nala here is an exceptional
You're
earner.
an exception for it.
Well,
for sure.
it's just so much more about growing yourself as a person and not just growing and making content and taking pictures of yourself. That doesn't help you do anything bigger. And then when you're making this much money as such a young person, you're like, wow, this is the time to be an adult. You need to set up for your future self. Like, you need to think of like the future Nala and be like, you know what? She'd want to be comfortable too. And she would want to continue sending her parents money. Yeah. I know that for a fact because I don't feel like I'm changing anytime soon. You know, so that was the biggest purpose of this. And I felt so steady in my decision making through this and financial, just like maneuvering. I'm so thankful that I did what I did.
I have a quick
Yeah.
question. If you went to your parents and you asked them, you said, you know, I have a choice. I can either quit doing all of this tomorrow, right, and go get a job for like a tenth of this, or I can continue to do this and send you money. Which one do you think they would ask?
My mom would say, absolutely quit. My dad, he'd be like, oh my God, no, why would you ever quit?
Your dad would say that?
My dad would say that I send money to my dad so that he can be comfortable with their
he's
family.
a pastor?
No, he's not a pastor anymore. They stopped being a pastor when I was like 18.
Okay, but he was, and he retained his faith, right?
He did. I'm his daughter, though. You know, I'm not just some stranger. He's like, you know what? If I want her in my life.
Doesn't that make it worse? Like, wouldn't that make it worse?
Not. Don't you have to accept your kids for who they
No.
are?
Yeah. What?
And
so
what?
No.
So wait.
Guys, one mic at a time.
Are you
One
just
mic at a
saying
time.
that, like,
I'll let
let's
you
just
come
say,
in. Go ahead.
I'll answer the
if
question.
you had a kid and they were doing OnlyFans, what, you just disown them because they made a bad decision?
Until they clean their life up, yeah.
You're a bad parent.
Wow, that's
my
terrible.
family would
That's bad
That's
parenting?
absolutely
My family would
terrible
100%
parenting.
disown me.
Okay, well then,
100%.
well, what about you're a bad kid?
No,
Okay,
you couldn't
we're
think
allowed
your
to make
kid
that
is
decision.
bad.
Guys, please.
Yeah,
one at a
you
time.
can-
One person speaking at a time. Go
You
ahead.
can think your
then
kid
you guys
is
can talk.
bad.
Go ahead.
You can think your kid is bad and disagree with their life choices, sure. But as a parent, you're supposed to be like a guiding figure and a loving figure, and part of
they've
that is not
rejected-
abandoning them in their time of need.
They've-
And
what
if
do
you
you
want,
mean?
if you
They're
want to
giving
talk
you the
about
middle finger.
Christianity, if you want to talk about Christianity, if you want to talk about like God and Jesus and the countless stories there are in the
Wait.
Bible of like still
I
accept.
gotta respond to this. I gotta
Okay,
respond to
okay.
this. Okay, listen. First of all, let's dive into this just a little bit. Okay, my daughter calls me up and she's like, "Hey, Dad, you know, I'm still going to be doing OnlyFans, but I'm kind of thinking about not doing it." Right? I would say, "Yes, absolutely, don't do it." In her situation, she's like, "No, he would totally be cool with it."
You're saying you would
Because
disown
you're
your child.
Hang
You're
on.
saying you would
What-
say
what was
be
the
gone, child.
What was the context? The context is
doesn't
until what?
He's
No,
supposed
the
to
context
Until
was
decision.
we asked the question was straightforwardly asked. If you found out your daughter had OnlyFans, what would you do?
And I
you were
said
saying
until she cleaned up, I would not be participating with her or allow her in my
you
life.
said you would.
It's probably easier for
disown
them-
her.
Why is that awful?
Because you're not supporting your child
Yeah, I'm
anymore.
not supporting
You don't have
bad,
to support
horrible
what you're
decisions that they're
doing, but
making.
you shouldn't
I'm making
disown
them
them.
face
A
consequences.
decision doesn't make them as a whole, though.
Yeah, the thing
You
is,
all know better.
No.
You literally told me you know for sure
I
what you're
didn't
doing
say
is bad, and you're just going to do it anyway. And then you're like,
who
Dad,
said it's
support it.
bad,
It's
though?
crazy.
Who said it's bad though?
That's
Because
crazy
I
to
didn't
me.
say
Even
it was
Nala,
bad.
even what Nala said, she said her dad doesn't support. She might not support what she does, OnlyFans, whatever. But he's like, you know what? You're my daughter, and if that's what you want to do with your life, that doesn't
Yeah,
mean
but are you
I'm saying go fucking do that.
Yeah, but are
Go
you
do
sure that this
OnlyFans,
isn't
but
just
I love
cope?
you, and I'm still gonna be in your
Are
life.
you sure that's not just cope? Because the same thing could happen to you.
Well, that's not true at all, though.
Yeah, isn't it though? Isn't it
Because-
really cope? You're just upset because your parents might actually do this to you. They might make you feel the consequences
Well,
of
then
this,
let
right?
them. And then what? You're just an
Exactly.
You don't
independent
care.
without parents
No,
that don't
So
give
if
a
you
fuck?
don't care if they
course I
disown
care.
you,
Of
why would you
course
say
I
they're a
care.
bad parent?
No,
No,
of course I care.
I'm
calling
you
you a bad
Wait,
parent.
One at a time. One at a
Do you
time.
think
one at
your
a time.
daughter?
Wait,
do you
you
think
said
your
I
daughter
would-
would care care if you abandoned her. Very
it's
simple.
not abandoning. You're
You're
abandoning
saying
an
you can disown
adult.
her.
An adult.
Yes, you can. There is no age that you cannot abandon your
Stuck
child.
with your kids when they're 60 and making bad choices
You
in
don't
your
have to
80s.
support them.
What?
Nobody said you have to.
What are you
Okay,
talking about?
you don't have to
One at
say.
a time,
Oh,
one at a time.
okay. You don't have
One
to
at a
say
time.
every decision they do is good. You don't have to support every decision they do. But that is very distinct than disowning your own child. And I hope we can all agree.
Do you know
with
what
that
a
here.
limit is? Do
Yeah,
know
you're
do you know
allowed
what-
to have. Let's make a
Stop being
scenario.
so
No,
emotional and be logical for 5
I
seconds.
am being
Here,
logical.
go ahead. Go ahead.
For me, so my mom, she's extremely Catholic. She grew up in the Philippines, like the only place where divorce is illegal. And her, when she first found out, obviously there was this.
I want to try to reel
I have a
other
big
people
question
into
though.
the
For me, it's
conversation.
like, what if you committed adultery against your wife, and then your kid found out about that and disowned you because
Well, should
you
my
made
wife
that?
abandon me? Should my wife abandon me when I commit adultery and do something she doesn't
I'm talking
like?
about the daughter.
No.
Is it
Answer my
right for-
question. Hang on. This
But
is
you
a
didn't answer
perfect.
my
My
question.
wife. So
Is
my.
it a question with a question?
Yeah,
now?
yeah. I'll answer.
okay.
So I'll answer. I'll answer. Then you answer. So the answer is yes.
wait,
I
wait.
would. But
Sorry. I did say that she could go, so
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but
I'm sorry.
go ahead.
So I was saying is I feel like, so me and my mom were distant, at a point when she found out, but then I feel like as a mother, like she just understands, one, from her for a Catholic perspective, it's not mine, it's that everyone has their own sins. She has no place to judge me because she has her own things. And then the other thing is she noticed, like when we're talking about bad life choices and your kid coming back when their life's cleaned up, my mom realized I was always just on a better path when I had her love in my life. Like when I was distant from her, then I was going further into things that she didn't want to see me in, because just having your parents' love is just kind of motivating. Having your parents' acceptance, any goal you have of your kid just doing better for themselves will be easier when they know that their parent loves them. Mm-hmm. Even if I don't support this, I don't want to hear about this, but I still love you. Maybe you barely talk to them every day, but okay, for me, I'm diabetic. Do you think my parents would never? They would never stop giving me insulin. I could have done anything in the world. They would always make sure I have my insulin.
Yeah.
Like certain things. You see what I'm saying? I know that's a different extreme, but it's kind of like
Doc Vinably donated $200. If my daughter did that means I failed her as a father. She would do of only if I am dead or in jail. Your fathers are morally weak men.
They are morally weak men.
I guess, could I ask you, who do you think is the example?
Well, I mean, you can say fuck you, but he's right. Look, the chatter's right.
Can I ask you a question?
Hang on, let me finish my point.
Because he takes your
I'm going to tell you, right? You do have to be a morally weak man if they know. Like in your case, maybe not, because your dad doesn't know. Okay, but a lot of people that I've talked to here, their dads do know, and they're just like,
but we're adults.
My dad doesn't like it.
We're adults.
and
We're
we're
able
good.
to make our own decisions.
My dad doesn't like it.
Just let me finish the point. I'm almost done. Okay. Yeah, I think that's a moral weakness to say, I will enable you. I will enable you to do this threshold breaking thing, especially from a Christian perspective. It's insane. I don't know why anybody would do it. I would say, listen.
You know why? Because real Christians love everyone.
So then why not just make everything permissible?
I love the fact that you're like, I'll disown my daughter. That's not.
So
love.
everything's permissible.
I didn't think
there's a difference between.
Wait, no.
Deleting someone
Everything's
is not
permissible.
permissible.
No, okay, but all social behaviors, all sexual behaviors, all everything, Christians must permit that.
Who's the example in Christianity for
Answer the
parenting?
question.
I feel like.
Ask him that. Who in
I
Christianity?
didn't even get an answer to my
You've given her an
question.
answer.
So
I'm asking you the question. Is all forms of social sexual behavior something which are supposed to be permissible to Christians?
I don't think it should be permissible. I think that you should love no matter what.
So then if it's not
permissible,
if it's not permissible, then I'm not giving permission, which means I'm not endorsing it, which means I'm not allowing it, which means I'm totally against it.
But if your kid is an adult, why do you have to allow them to do something?
What do you? I'm not allowing them to.
He would disown.
He would disown
The
them.
question I have for you.
What are you talking about?
Who in Christianity is the example for parenting? Who is it?
You mean in which context? Which saints are you talking about?
What?
I'm talking about
There's saints which you can look to as examples in parenting.
Who do you look to as the example for parenting?
As the example
Saints
inside of
underscore
Christianity?
easy donated
Of course I look at
$1.
Jesus.
1 sec.
Honestly, Nala has a special brand of daddy issues. Every girl has a craving for attention. If she doesn't get it from her dad, she will get by being a thought.
So
Here, I need to.
Yeah, look at Jesus Christ.
Do you want to
of
answer?
course.
But like, I do want to. I have so many notes I have to get through. So go ahead. It sounded like you wanted to say something. So
I feel like a lot of people think that because of what I do, I have daddy issues or mommy issues or whatever the fuck it is. But it's honestly, it's a self-made choice. I didn't go to my dad and be like, should I do this? And he just gave me like all this advice to do it. I came to them, told them because I wanted to be honest with my parents. They have that reason, they have that decision to make with their kid if they do something like this. You know what I mean? Like whether they want to be in your life or not. I think it's bad parenting if you don't want to be in your kid's life, no matter what they do. I'm not saying if they like delete someone, that's a great, I don't know. I feel like the line is just too broad here.
So let me ask you this. Can you make the judgment and the value-added judgment on what's bad parenting? I have children. Do you have any?
No.
Okay. And then on top of it, from your parents' perspective, you turned out to go off and do OnlyFans and like show your butthole online for money. How's that great parenting? How could you come to me and say what a great parent should do is
I
this?
just think it's
You're the
funny
perfect
that
example
Christianity
of
put me in
everything
such a
that
cage.
nobody
Hold
should
on,
listen
hold
to for
on.
great
Is
parenting.
Christ a terrible parent because like so many of his sons and daughters commit sin? You said Jesus is your example for parenting. Who did Jesus dine with?
This is a hilarious
Who did he dine
argument.
with?
Of course, he died for everybody.
No,
who
who
did
did
he dine
dine? Like
with?
eat.
Who
Oh,
did he-
dine. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Who did he dine with?
In which context? Like his apostles or
Matthew
when?
in the Gospels. Who did he dine
he would
with?
dine with everybody. He dined with sinners. He would dine with
Who
saints.
did he call
would dine-
godless fools and rejected outright?
Okay, just stop.
Who?
Just get to your point.
He
You should
called.
know this.
Well, it's fine if you don't
Oh,
know
should I?
this. The
What?
people he called godless fools was Pharisees, the leaders of the religion.
Okay.
Whereas in the cases of women who were adulterers, tax collectors,
The ones he told to sin no more?
He told them to sin no more,
Sin
but
no
he
more.
still dined with them.
And he told them to sin no more. He said,
I
go
agree,
and sin
but
no
disowning
more.
is not the same thing as saying sin no more.
Disowning until a behavior is modified.
No.
That's behavior modification.
No, it's not.
How do
There's-
you? Oh,
there's
okay.
a million
So-
ways
He
to
didn't
not. Hold on, hold on, hold on,
condone it.
hold on.
Let her finish.
There's a million ways to condone an action. How do you even reconcile the prodigal son when the father, as the son walks home, says, "You've been my son the whole time." He never removed it. The son left, and the father allowed him to live out the consequences of that. But the father didn't disown
first
him.
of all,
the
that's-
father didn't send him away, and when
yeah,
he came back,
the-
he threw him a massive party.
Yes,
Oh,
the
the
parable.
prodigal child.
The
prodigal
well,
son.
the parable
Yes.
prodigal son. But here's the thing: when you're looking at what happened in the results of the prodigal son, the father did not go where the son was, committing all these heinous acts.
We're not saying-
Stop.
We're
let
not
me
saying you
finish
should
now.
start at OnlyFans. That's
saying
what we're
we're not
saying.
saying
Am I allowed to get my point?
We're not
We're
saying
just
join
saying-
OnlyFans.
You're
We're
just gonna
saying you don't
spurg?
disown
You're
your
all
child.
spurging. You're all spurging. You're all spurging. Calm down. Let me finish my point. Okay. Dad didn't go where he was. Dad wasn't going and trying to pull him back. He wasn't doing any of this. He was saying, I don't endorse what it is that you're
not what he
doing,
said.
what you're going after.
That's
Yes,
not what
he
he
did
said.
say that.
He never
He
said
told him
that.
it was a bad idea to leave.
That's a very big difference between
Okay,
saying
he
that
told him it was a
condoned
bad.
him
Now he
everywhere.
left anyway after breaking the fortune, and then when he came back humble, with his
With
tail between
nothing.
his legs, crying his eyes out, did his father say, "You've now returned to me, the prodigal son, and now all is forgiven"?
You have always
Yeah.
is the key word here. You've always been
They're
my
still
son.
always your kid.
Not if
but
you
that
disown
doesn't
them.
mean-
That's
That doesn't mean that you
Not
have
if you
to.
disown them.
That doesn't mean you have to
difference
enable
is,
it.
In the cases of, like, did he not go with them to like go and slut it up with whores and blow money on crack? No, he didn't. But she's not saying, "Hey, Dad, come do OnlyFans with me. You should."
My
start
dad
it
is
with
nowhere
me."
in my life.
Yeah, but my point
Physically.
is that again, when he came back humble, when he came back correct, when he came back from doing the horrible things that he was doing, then Dad said, "Yes, welcome back in. You were always my son. Of course, I never stopped loving you." But he was not endorsing all the
At
things
no
that
point
the
was
kid,
he disowned,
Let me
though.
finish. He was not endorsing all the things the kid was doing. He was
I'm
not
not
going out of
asking
his
you to.
way to make sure that the kid had additional money to continue sinning where he was at. He wasn't doing
I'm
any
not
of that.
asking that. I'm not saying any of these things. The issue is that if Christ is the example for parenting and he loves you every single step of the way,
He's not the only
disowning your child is the opposite of that thing. Now, I am fine with parents getting to decide if you don't want to support that. They tell them explicitly. I would be fine with a relationship. Like, my parents are Christian, my brother's gay. I'm fine with them regularly being
Can the
like, "Hey,
Catholic
disagree
Church
with this."
excommunicate people?
Yes, but the Catholic Church is in no way the same thing as a
Yeah,
parent.
so if the Catholic Church excommunicates somebody, are you saying that what they're doing...
Why do they excommunicate?
finish.
Hold on.
Here's the
That's an
Stop,
extremely
hold,
important
stop.
question.
Fuck, we're getting.
Stop.
Okay, make a final point, and I'm
Okay,
moving
I'll
on.
make it quick.
Christ friends with
Okay.
prostitutes.
If you make
Why we
No, literally, Mary Magdalene was
if you make an
prostitute.
excommunication, why is it
closest
that
is-
they're not turning their back on their children?
Okay, an excommunication at an apostolic level of the Catholic Church is about godless fools. It's about
Not always.
Pharisees. That is why the Eastern Orthodox was removed. They broke up with
They
you
didn't- they-
because they
no, the
thought
other
that
way.
you got
It was
no.
the other way
I know
around.
you guys broke up with us after, but that's just not true. The reason that they were
Wait, you're a
excommunicated.
Catholic?
I'm not a Catholic, but I'm
Yeah,
like
come on,
theologically
you're not a Catholic. Yeah.
I'm more Catholic than I am Eastern
Okay,
Orthodox.
20 seconds, 20
The
seconds,
reason
go.
that churches excommunicate is because they're violating the nature of God himself, not because they're doing a sin that they dislike. It's extremely different, and these types of sins, like blaspheming the Holy Spirit, is in no way comparable to moral sins or virtue sins, which maybe OnlyFans is moral sins, or maybe it's a virtue sin. I'm not sure where it falls specifically, but acting like the church can excommunicate so parents can excommunicate their children is a bastardization of why the Catholic Church does this in the first
So
place.
let's look at this logically to what you're saying, not what the distinction,
Final point,
which
final
the
point,
distinctions
final
in the
point.
reasoning are. Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to respond. What the distinction in the reasonings are. Let's look at this from a holistic. You claimed, listen, because Jesus Christ said thing X, it's not proper for you to then say, nope, I'll walk away from this. But it is proper for the Catholic Church to do the same thing under the same circumstances. And your only claim to this is to say
It's
that they
disanalogous.
rejected
It's
that they
disanalogous.
rejected Christ. So the same thing happens
No,
exactly
sin is
here.
not rejecting Christ.
Oh,
and
it
you
can
know
be
that.
rejecting Christ.
Yes, blaspheming,
Yes.
Blaspheming the name of
blaspheming
Yes.
the Holy Spirit.
But here's the
is.
thing, what
But
I'm-
what the
yeah.
what the Pharisees did was
Nope,
bad
no, no,
enough.
no, no, no,
Okay.
no, 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 no.
These are disanalogous, and you're being dishonest. with them.
No, that's not. They're not disanalogous.
Yes,
This is your logic.
No, this is the logic of like
You guys
all of the
can-
theology.
No, it's just your logic.
of
Okay,
the
okay, okay.
Catholic
We're
Here,
free
wait,
time.
interlude. Can we